Hello, and thank you for tuning in to the Temple of Enlightenment International Spiritual Center. I am the founder and the master teacher, Issachar Bey. I want to thank you guys for tuning in and taking the time to listen to this lecture. It is my intention that the information, the knowledge, the wisdom that you will receive in this setting will begin to expand your consciousness and begin to get you into a place where you can now begin to utilize this knowledge and apply it. We've often been told that knowledge is power, and I want to let you know that that information itself has been incorrect, because just because you know something or have knowledge of something, it doesn't mean that you have the power or the wherewithal to do anything. It's only when you apply the knowledge that you do have that you are then able now to utilize that knowledge and allow it to be powerful in your application of it. In your application of it. And in your application is where you begin to find that you are now able to be powerful in to allowing things to manifest and happen in your life as you created. Because we are creators. We create our own reality. We are the thinker that thinks the thought. We are the ones that have the ability to make things happen and pull things out of the invisible realm and put it in the visible realm, in the tangible realm. And so when you begin to understand that and look at that from its entirety and begin to understand your significance of who you are, your significance of how you have been inundated with such information and wisdom, realizing that, listen, there's nothing new under the sun. The information that you think that you are discovering or that is new is really not new. Do you realize that how much knowledge and wisdom and so much things that you have inside of you? And so when you get into these sessions and you get into these groups of like-mindedness and the like-minded people, you begin to rediscover, you begin to remember who you are. You begin to remember the power. You begin to remember the significance of who you are. I've often believed that there are three reasons why we were born. The first reason is to discover who we are. That's the reason. They often say the two most important days of your life is the day you're born and the day you find out why you were born, right? But self-awareness, self-knowledge of who you are is vitally important. And then the second reason we're born is to discover our gifts, our talents, right? And the third reason why we're born is to serve humanity, which means that once I discover who I am, and then now I begin to understand and realize what my gifts and my talents are, I was given those gifts and talents to serve humanity. There's nobody who's successful, there's nobody who's rich and wealthy that does not provide a service. I'm going to ask you, those who are listening, what service do you provide? What service do you provide? I want to ask you the question, what service do you provide? Because we have to understand that our gifts and talents are not given to us for our own gain. They're not given to us for just the mere opportunity of us to just begin to show off and begin to boast. But our gifts were given to us to serve humanity, to begin to serve the world. The world has need of your gift. The world has a need of your talent. And so I wanted to talk to you today because I believe that we are entering into a season of our lives where those of you who have a understanding of self-knowledge, who have an understanding of of self-awareness and know who you are, and those that know what their gifts and their talents are, and those that don't know. So some people come to me and they say, Brother Issachar, how do I know what my purpose is? I don't know what my gifts and my talents are. I don't know. I don't have a clue. I grew up in the shelter. I had some difficulties growing up. My mother and father abandoned me. I really don't know who I am. And so what happens is, what I like to do is when those people come to me for a session, we like to look into the heavens. That's what I call it, looking into the heavens. And what we begin to do is we begin to discover where the planets in the solar system, where they were positioned at the time, the place, and the date of your birth. Based on that snapshot of the picture, we're able to look into this picture and see the hand that you were dealt, the hand that the universe dealt you. But not only does it show us the hand that you were dealt, but it also shows us how to play that hand to win in the game of life. Yes, I said it. I said it. Life is a game. I don't believe that life is supposed to be dull and boring. I don't believe that life is supposed to be just going to work, coming home, struggling. I believe that life is supposed to be fun and enjoyment. There's nothing wrong with competition. There's nothing wrong with excelling. There's nothing wrong with getting bigger and better and stronger. There's nothing wrong with getting wiser. And so I believe that every year that you have on this earth, you should be in a better position than you were the following year. I believe that in this day and in this time that we are in, that we are moving into that understanding. So some people will say to me, well, Brother Issachar, where you been, man? Are you still doing your Sunday calls? Are you still doing this thing? So yes, we're doing the Sunday calls. I'm getting ready to start a creating your own reality segment on the Amazon AMP app. So those of you, Amazon has an app. It's their version of Clubhouse. It's called AMP, A-M-P. And I'm going to be doing a show. It's going to be basically a teaching. And we're probably going to start doing it every Monday. And we're going to put that together and get that going. So I'll keep you guys informed about that. But what I did last year is I kind of pulled back a little bit and I kind of began to just delve in and study a lot of things. One of the things I focused on the majority of last year was consumer law. And I'm basically going to move past this, but I just want to put this out here. I begin to look at consumer law and begin to study the origins and the powerful uses of consumer law, begin to get into credit history and how to deal with credit and why credit is so vital. And so we have so many great things that we're going to be discussing and doing different things. What I've been doing recently now is I've been doing a lot of private consultations, spiritual consultations. And in those consultations, it seems like I've been able to just expand out of the spiritual world and get into the physical world. And what we've been doing is I've been helping a lot of my clients personally with their credit, getting their credit back up to par. Listen, I'm just going to put this out here. I don't care where you are as far as your credit. I don't care what you have on your credit report. I don't care what you don't have on your credit report. There really isn't no reason why you shouldn't have good credit. And I will be creating some programs and different things in the foreseen future where I will give you guys an opportunity to be in a program. And I don't care what you have on your program, on your credit, we will be able to assist you to help you get your credit up and show you how to maneuver and get into the business credit world and all those wonderful things. So listen, knowledge is power, right? It's the applied knowledge. So I took a long time off to really get into that, and I found some amazing things that have helped me greatly and actually changed my life personally. So, just letting you guys know about that. But I want to talk tonight. I want to talk from this subject. You only get out of life what you pay for. we're almost getting ready to enter into April. We're getting ready to get ready for Palm Sunday. We're getting ready for Easter. Then we will be this year is moving. We just entered into 2023, and already the year is moving fastly. Saturn has already entered Pisces, and then just this past week, Pluto entered into Aquarius. Those of you that don't know, we have a new magazine. It's called the House of Manifestation magazine. Wherever you're listening to this at, it should be in the description where you can click on it and subscribe to it. It's free. And we're going to try to put this out very frequently as we can. And so I want you guys to get a hold of that and just read that. Our premier article this month was on one of the, I would say, greatest preachers or teachers or mentors that one could have, and that would be Archbishop Eben R. Jordan, America's Black Prophet. He has a documentary out. If you don't know who he is, you would get the magazine. You can watch the documentary. He's on social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. You can find him. But he is the America's Black Prophet and prophesied so many things. He prophesied Obama being president. He prophesied Bitcoin. He prophesied Katrina going down. I mean, Katrina taking out Louisiana. He prophesied many different things way back before it happened, years before it happened, in a book called Written Judgments. And so you guys can go take a look at that. We also have some things in there. I have an article in there about the Pluto going to Aquarius. We have some things about the year 2023 and what it means numerologically. So we have quite a few things in there. So like I said, you guys can get a hold of that and really get abreast of that. And then I'm going to be putting some stock stuff in there about those people getting into stocks and learning what EFT and index funds are, and also getting into options and so forth. So you'll see a lot of those things happening as we get ready to kind of focus on putting this out. I want to talk about, you only get in life what you pay for. So somebody's saying, wait, what do you mean I only get in life what I pay for? I don't understand that. Because in life, you only get in life what you pay for. Somebody says, well, I didn't pay to be sick. I didn't pay to be lonely. I didn't pay to be broke. I didn't pay to be discombobulated. I didn't pay to be homeless. I didn't pay for my life to be in the shambles and the disarray that it is. I didn't pay for that. So what do you mean that you only get out of life what you pay for? Because I definitely didn't pay for what I'm experiencing right now as I'm hearing this message. I didn't pay for that. I didn't pay for the experiences that I am encountering at this present time. My friend, my beloved, I want to say this to you, that yes, in fact, you did pay for it. Because see, when I say you only get out of life what you pay for, what it literally means is what you pay attention to. Yes, see, whatever you pay attention to, you will therefore manifest it into your life. And the biggest thing that I've seen in life thus far is everybody always focuses on the things that they don't want. They never focus on the things that they do want. Why? Because we really don't know what we want. See, I found out. I want to ask the question. Those of you who are listening, and you can get with me and leave comments. I want to know: do you really know what you want in life? Because we watch TV and we see things on TV and we say, oh, I want to have a house like that, or I want to have a car, and I want to do some of the things. I want to be able to manifest and do things, and I want to have this, and I want to have this. We go by what we see on TV. We go by what we see others have. This world is about putting on the show, showing that we have certain things, or because we're wearing certain type of clothing, this is what we have. But have you ever seen something that you wanted because everybody else has it, and then when you get it, it wasn't really what you thought it was? It didn't really do for you what it thought it would do. It didn't really give you the essence or the oomph that you thought it would, because you really didn't want it. You really didn't know what you wanted. You just thought that you wanted it because everybody else had it, and so you thought that you needed it. We all need to pay attention to what we don't want, and that has to change. Because if you're paying attention to, if somebody's saying that's listening to me right now, you're saying to me, I don't want to be broke. I don't want to be lonely. I don't want to be homeless. I don't want to be sick. These are the things that I don't want. Then you should not focus on those things. You should not constantly be focusing on the things that you don't want, because whatever it is that you're focusing on that you don't want, you actually bring that into fruition. You bring that into fruition. I often, when I meet with people, the first thing I ask them for is, tell me your plan. And they say, well, what do you mean? A plan for what? I say, a plan for your life, a plan. Everybody listening to me, go grab a sheet of paper. I want you to write some things down. You ought to have a plan. And so well, I don't have a plan because, and so this is why you need a plan. Many of us are not living, we're just existing. I'll say that again. Many of us are not living, we are just existing. Some may call it the walking dead, right? Because if you're going to be living, the only way that you can live is by being able to create your own reality, by creating your future. The best way to predict the future is to create it. So you got to be able to create your future, which means that you can't live life by just going to and fro. Well, whatever happens this year happens, and you know, if it works out for me, it works out. If it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out. No. You have to take control of your life and begin to navigate and begin to navigate and move through to move in a direction that you want to move into. But if there's no direction for you to move into, that there is not, you're not aiming, then where are we going? What are we doing? Because you always got to have a plan. You always have to have a destination, a goal, or somewhere that I'm trying to go, somewhere that I want to be, because I'm never satisfied where I am. Write that down. Never be satisfied where you are. Why? Because you're constantly growing. You're constantly expanding. You are not at the same level of consciousness that you were in 2022. You're not. Everything that you went through in 2022 was to prepare you for 2023. You're not the same person that you were in 2022. And so we can't put ourselves in a position to where we're trying to determine where am I going? What am I doing? What the question I have to ask is, what's the plan? Have a plan so strong that time will submit to it and change will become its servant. Let me say that again. Have a plan so strong that time will submit to it and change will become its servants. Listen, time and change are the two things that we can't control. We can't control time. We can't stop time. We can't control time. And we can't control change. Change is inevitable. It's going to happen whether you want it or not. I was doing a consultation recently, and I was telling a woman about all the changes that she's about to experience. And she says, oh, my God, are these changes going to be good or bad? I say, listen, I don't believe in good or bad change. I don't. The only way that you can determine whether change will be good or bad is how you relate to change. That's the only way that you can determine. There's no such thing as a good or bad change. Change is inevitable. It's going to happen. How you adapt to the change will determine whether it's good or bad. And how you determine and how you relate to change will determine where you are in life. Because if you have a plan, if you have the self-awareness, if you know the hand that you were dealt, you know what your gifts and your talents are, and you are in motion constantly serving humanity, or you're on your way to be in a position to serve humanity, you have a goal, you have a destination of where you're going to. So when change happens, it begins to kind of maneuver and fold into the plan. But you got to be able to remember, I only get out of life what I pay for. I want you to listen to me. Those that are listening to the sound of my voice, are you excited and are you grateful of what you are experiencing now that you have paid for out of life? Are you getting everything that you wanted to out of life? Because if you're not, then you have to change what you're paying for. You have to change the very thing that you're paying for. What are you paying for? What are you paying your attention to? This lecture starts off, the starting of my new book is called Mental Resurrection. I'm working on a work right now called Mental Resurrection, and it's going to be talking about this very thing, how to take control of your thoughts to create your reality, to manifest the life that you want to live, how to bring into fruition the things that you want to experience in this incarnation. For we are nothing more than spiritual beings having a human experience. And so even in this human experience, I have to learn and realize that I'm still a spiritual being. I'm a spiritual being in this physical shell, but there is always a balance. I can't be too heavenly minded that I'm no earthly good. I can't be too earthly good that I'm not heavenly minded. But seeking balance. Listen, when you talk about what are you paying for in life, it's very vital that we allow that to just linger in our minds for a minute, to deal with the understanding of what's being said here. What's really being said is, you mean to tell me that I'm not where I want to be in life because I paid for the wrong thing? Yes. You mean to tell me that I'm not as far as I want to be in life because I paid for the wrong thing? Yes. You mean to tell me that I'm not making the kind of money and don't have the money that I want to have because I've been paying for the wrong thing? Yes. Because, my friend, you only get out of life what you pay for. So if you're not at the financial level that you want to be at, it's because you haven't paid for it. We want things to come to us, but they're not going to just come to us just to come. You only get what you pay for. Because anything else that you get, you're stealing. You can't steal it, you got to pay for it. So anything that I want to experience in life, wait, what do you mean? So, brother Issachar, I've been a lonely woman for 15 years, and I want to find a husband, and I want to get married and have a family, and I just never think it's going to happen for me because I've never seemed to find anybody. What are you paying for? Are you paying attention to the fact that you've been lonely for 15 years and you keep thinking and honing on that memory and you keep honing on that thought about being lonely for 15 years? Guess what's going to happen? You're going to be lonely for another 15 years because you're still honing on and holding on to the thought of being lonely. But what happens if you begin to change the dynamic of the thought and begin to now think about the fact that, wait a minute, what if I am married? How would it be if I was married? How would it be? And so, because listen, this is a great conversation here, because when I was in counseling during the session, one of the things I said to a woman is, the Bible says that he that finds a wife finds a good thing. Listen to this again. He that finds a wife finds a good thing. Wait a minute. if he that finds a wife finds a good thing, it didn't say he that finds a girlfriend. It didn't say he that finds a best friend. It didn't say he that finds somebody who he's cool with. It said he that finds a wife. So what that means to me is that this woman that he finds as his wife, she's already walking around in the consciousness of being a wife. Because when he found her, he saw in her that she was a wife. And he said, I want you to be my wife. He asked her to marry him. She didn't walk around and say, oh, I've been lonely for 15 years, because that wouldn't been his wife. But when he looked at her and he chose her because he chose his wife and found favor. Whatever it is that you want out of life, you have to pay for it. You have to pay attention to it. You have to pay attention to the things that you want to manifest, not the things that you don't have, not the things that you feel are not in place, or the things that you feel are wrong. If somebody's listening to this call and they've told you that there's an ailment, or they told you something, and that you begin to now take on the consciousness of being sick, you need to switch that consciousness around to I am healed, and begin to focus on the thoughts of healing, or the thoughts of being in 100% health. And so I've been playing around with a lot of things, and don't know how long I'm going to do this, but I've been going on about 2 weeks now eating nothing but fruits. I've been playing around with people, telling everybody that I'm a fruitarian now, that all I eat is fruits. But I've been seeing I've been seeing the major changes that have happened in my body by me just eating fruits alone, fruits and water. And so what I'm doing is, it's not, when you pay attention to something, it's not just you focusing on a mental level, because remember, we're spiritual beings having a physical, we're spiritual beings having a human experience. So even though I'm focusing on my health, I'm paying attention to being healthy by physically doing it in my everyday routine. So if I want to be successful, if I want to be wealthy, I have to now start paying attention to the things that I want to manifest. But it's not just about paying attention, because paying attention means focus. It means on the spiritual level. It means on the psychological level. And it also means on the physical level. That means I'm paying my energy, my time, my effort. I'm paying by studying and getting in connection with the like-mindedness of people who are in this thing that I'm going into to manifest. I believe that we ought to be able to understand the power of focus. Because if you're going to pay attention, you have to be able to focus, right? Focus. The subconscious mind operates in the present moment. And focusing on the present and living in the moment can harness its power, right? And what that means is, when you're focused on something, you want to be focused on the now. You want to be focused on the present. You want to be focused on, because when you focus on the now, when you focus on the present, it will allow you to not be able to focus on the past or worry about the future. Because a lot of us are afraid of the future. We've never seen it before. We don't know what's going to happen next week. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't know what's going to happen next month. But it, like I said, the best way to predict the future is to create it. So I don't have to be afraid of tomorrow. I don't have to be afraid of next week or next month, because I have the ability to create next week and next month right here, right now. But guess what? What I'm paying attention to, what I'm focusing on. What I'm focusing on. And so when I begin to look at this and begin to understand, one of the most important things of being able to utilize that focus is also the ability to understand how your thought, when you understand the power of thought, and you understand that the power of thought will begin to change your life in a unbelievable way, because as we've all been taught, thoughts are things. Your thoughts turn into things. Listen, when you have an idea and that idea goes into your mind, it's on the conscious level. It's on the conscious level. And whether the thought is good, bad, or indifferent, that thought now goes to the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind doesn't know whether the thought is good, bad, or indifferent. What it does is it takes that thought and it makes it and it turns it into the thing. And so that's why you have to be very careful and begin to understand the power of thought. Because if I'm no longer paying attention to the things that I don't have, or the things that I don't want, and the things that I don't need, and I keep focusing on them things, that's why they keep showing up. You know, it's very ironic to see somebody who's going all over life, blaming everybody for their issues, blaming everybody for their problems. They leave one job and go to another job and still having the same issues they had at that job. And they said, oh, it's the supervisors, it's the boss, they don't like me, they're prejudiced, they're racist. They say all of that, and they go to the next job and have the same issues. You was dating this kind of a man, and then you didn't like, and something happened with that man, so then you went and got another man, and he treated you the same way the other man did. And so you said, you know what, I'm going to leave that state because the men in that state ain't no good. And so you go to another state, and you meet another man, and he treats you the same way the other two did. And so you start realizing that, wait a minute, it can't be everybody else. So there's something inside of me that's allowing me to magnetize this experience. And I didn't pay for that. I don't want to pay for this anymore. This is not what I paid for. This is not what I want to pay for. Have you ever bought something and when you got home with it, you realized like, this ain't what I wanted? Or you ordered something from Amazon and then when it came in, you said, this is not what I wanted. This is not what I thought I paid for. And so you send it back because this is not what I paid for. This is not what I wanted. And so I'm telling you, those of you that are listening to the sound of my voice, you need to send back the things that you are not paying for. And you need to start paying for the things that you want to see in life. What are the things that you want to manifest? What are the things that you want to see in life? These are the things that we need to start making changes. Realize that change is a process. You know, when I started doing my counseling sessions this year in January, and it seems like up until now, they'll just keep on going. We talked about 2023. 2023 is a year of the number 7. The number 7 has to do with spirituality, and this is a year where you will see the spirituality of people really come to the realm. You might see a lot of people really tapping into their spirituality. You might see a lot of people kind of pulling back, going back to school, redefining, redeveloping themselves. You'll see a lot of that, right? But one of the things that I've noticed is that, you know, every year we say to ourselves, this is my year. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I think the most important thing that everybody that's listening to this lecture needs to realize, you need to know where you are. You need to know where you are in life. Where are you? What I mean by that is, where are you? Where are you spiritually? Where are you psychologically? Where are you financially? Where are you? Because if you don't know where you are, how can you determine where you're going? And what I mean by that is that every year, everybody is not going to be doing the same thing every year. That means in 2023, this may not be the year for you to do some of the things that you thought you wouldn't do. This may be a year for you to kind of pull back and go back to school. This may be a year for you to go start a business. This may be a year for you to really work on yourself and get yourself together. This may be a year for you to focus on getting your health together and working out. This may be a year for you to kind of put the plan together and get your mind right, and get your body right, and get your soul right, and your spirit right. So everybody's not going to be on the same level, but you need to know where you are. You need to know where you are so that you can determine where you want to go. And so let me say this. When you determine where you want to go in life, don't worry about the end. Just know what direction or where you want to go, and that's it. Because throughout, life is not about the destination. It's always about the journey. And so what's going to happen is, as you move throughout life, what happens is you're going to constantly have to make adjustments. You know, people always say this: I want to be strong, I want to be successful, I want to be able to do a lot of the things that I've always wanted to do. And you know, I really want to be a great business person, an entrepreneur. We say all of these things. And then when the obstacles and situations come in our lives, we run away from them things, or we try to turn away and don't want to deal with those things because we say to ourselves, maybe this is not for me. But you don't realize that if you're going to be strong, if you're going to be successful, those obstacles are what's going to get you to that plateau. Listen, if somebody goes to the gym and says, I want to be strong, they have to lift weights. You can do cardio, you can ride the bike. That's not going to make you strong. That's going to, you know, give you the cardio, the endurance, give you the ability to work out, and that's great. But if you want to get strength, you have to lift weights. And so weights are heavy, weights are difficult to lift, and you can only lift a certain amount at a certain time, but the more you lift it, the stronger you get. So the same thing applies in life. If you're going to be strong, if you're going to be successful, if you're going to be great, if you're going to be all of those things, you can't be afraid of the obstacles that are going to be presented in front of you, because those obstacles, those things are going to get you to the place that you set out to go. You can't run away from it. Run to it. I tell people all the time, do not run away from change. Run to the change. The change will allow you to evolve and move into the person that you're supposed to be. Allow you to move into the place that you're supposed to be at the right place at the right time, to meet the right people, to be in the right situations or circumstances, to be in that place, to do the things that you need to do. That's why it's important about self-knowledge. And when I say self-knowledge, I mean you need to understand what with the astrology. A lot of people are afraid of it because they say that it's the devil, it's hoodoo, this and that, or whatever they feel about it. But it's not something that you believe in. I've always believed this, and I've been taught by one of the great, late great masters of all time, Noel Till, who was a master astrologer. And he always said, astrology is not something you believe in. It's something that everybody needs to know, and it's true. So you have scientists that are following the planets. You have scientists who are constantly watching the solar systems and the galaxies and so forth. And so we have to keep in mind that, the Bible says that he created the sun and the moon so that it can give us the times of seasons and the times of night and day and so forth. And then we get into the whole story of the wise men. How were they able to find Jesus? How were they able to follow the star if they didn't know what the star was or even how to follow the star? So they had to be astrologers in order to follow the star. So I say that to say this, is that I think that is something that everybody needs to know. The reason why I say astrology is because astrology will give you a generic breakdown of who you are. It will give you a breakdown of why you came, what did you come into this incarnation to do? What gifts and talents do you have? How will things begin to play out in your life? It will give you the access to have an understanding of who you are. And I think that once you understand who you are and understand what your destiny entails, what weapons you have at your disposal, what things you can do, why are you built the way that you are built? Why are you the person that you are? And I think when you get that understanding in you, it will allow you to really win in the game of life, because I believe life is a game. And so when we move into those things of understanding more about life, more about what are the things that we want to manifest and the things that we want to bring into fruition, you gotta realize and do this on your piece of paper. I want you to write down the 10 things that you want to buy and receive out of life. The 10 things. Some people will say great health. I want financial security. But then you have to write down, what is financial security? What does that mean? How much money per month would you need? How much money per year will you need? How much money will you need for emergencies? We need to be as detailed as we want. And then after you write down the things that you're paying for, that you want to pay for to get out of life, you got to start paying for them by paying your time, your energy, by not just on a mental level, by not just putting it on a vision board and visualizing it and mentally meditating on it, which is all good things. But after you finish meditating and doing all of those things, you have to now move out off the spiritual and move into the physical. And now you have to start applying those things to your life, which means every day I am paying attention to the things I want to bring into my life. Every day. Every day I am paying attention to the things that I want in life. I'm paying for them every day. And as you begin to pay for those things, you will begin to see that life will begin to change. You'll start seeing, wait a minute, this really works. The stuff that I'm paying for. And then you start realizing that, wait a minute, the stuff that I no longer want, that I didn't pay for, is no longer in my life anymore. But I'm starting to get the things that I want, the things that I am consciously paying for. See, a lot of us are unconsciously paying for things that's why we get confused. Because in our minds, we constantly are thinking about the things that we don't have, the things that we want, the things that we don't want to experience in life. We're constantly thinking about those things. And so those things keep showing up in our lives. But when you have now become conscious of this and you now know that I only get out of life what I pay for, it begins to change the dynamic, and it begins to change what it is that I'm paying attention to. We are getting ready to enter into a very dangerous time. And when I say dangerous, I mean as far as everybody not being, as I want to say, supposedly, quote unquote, woke. Everybody not being on the same level consciously. Everybody not being able to see things and be in the right place at the right time. That's why it's important, and I've always said this, whoever's in your ear will determine your year. Let me say that again. Whoever is in your ear will determine your year. And so you need a prophet. You need somebody in your life who's constantly speaking in your ear so that you can have that determination of being in the right place at the right time, being in the right circumstances, being able to move and have your being and do the things that you want to be doing, have all that your heart desires. But it's all depending upon what you're paying for. My thoughts create my reality. And so if I'm using my thoughts to pay for the things that I want in life, then I'm using special thoughts that are going to but now listen to this. When I say you only get a life that you pay for, this is not a hope and a wish and a prayer. This well, not so much a prayer, but this is not a hope and a wish, because what this is this is me paying with my thoughts, because thoughts become things, and then what happens is they become my reality. And see, the reason why I would construct it and put prayer in there as well is because prayer actually does the very thing. People, I've always heard this in church, and this is absolutely wrong. People always say in church, prayer changes things. That's wrong. Prayer changes you, and you change the thing. Well, Master Teacher Issachar, I don't agree with that. Prayer changes things. The prayers, we prayed all the time, and we prayed for this, and it happened, and this and that. Listen to what I'm telling you. The Bible says that whatever you pray for, believe that you have received it. And then once you have come to the belief of receiving the thing that you're praying for, then and only then will it show up and be manifested in your life. So what that literally means is that prayer is really me convincing myself that I already received the thing that I'm praying for. And however long it takes me to believe that, then and only then will that thing come into manifestation. So guess what? Prayer didn't change the situation. Prayer changed me, and then I changed the situation. because I got to the place where I now started believing that the thing I was praying for, I already received it. And by me believing that, guess what happened? I paid attention to it. And after I started paying attention to it, it started coming in my life. That's what prayer really is. Prayer is all about paying attention to the things that you want in life. I paid attention to it. And because I paid attention to it, it showed up. It showed up in my life after I started paying attention to it. Listen, I don't want another day to go by and you're not paying attention consciously to the things that you want to manifest in life, the things that you want to experience. And this is the thing that we have to get out of our minds. When you start paying attention to the things you want, do not worry about how they will manifest. Don't worry about that. Just pay for it. Just continue to keep paying for it and watch how the universe will make it happen. I think that when you get so boggled and so entangled with how it's going to happen, you mess up the flow and you can kind of block your blessing. So you don't want to be worried about how is it going to happen, how is it going to manifest, is it going to come this way, is it going to come that way? Don't worry about how it's going to come. You just keep focusing on paying. Just continue to pay with your thoughts. Continue to just keep paying and just keep paying. And then what happens is when you start really continue to pay and pay and pay, you start realizing that, wait a minute, I'm starting to get what I paid for. I'm starting to get the results. I'm starting to experience the things that I want to experience in life. I think that this year will be great. I see a lot of people getting ready for this year. There's been an overwhelming amount of people traveling all over the world. Even right now, we just had spring break. Everybody's traveling. I see people in the gym getting ready for summertime and working out. And so one thing I love about life is that we can always create who we want to be. We can be who we want to be. We can always create that element. We can always be the person that we want to be. We can always create the experience that we want to experience. You can create that experience. And I think a lot of times, as I said earlier, we get in our own way because we're focusing on who is it that we want. We're focusing on how is it going to happen. Who is going to be the person that's going to bring it into fruition? And once you let that go and stop worrying about the how, when, what, who, and where, and allow that to just unfold, the more you focus on paying for what you want out of life, you'll see things come to fruition. You start walking in the element. You start becoming the thing that you want. The Shakespeare said it best: to be or not to be, that is the question. That's really what life is about. Either you are or you're not. You can't try to be successful. You can't try to be great. Either you're going to be great or either you're going to be successful or you're not. To be or not to be, that is the question. And so we begin to look at this from this paradox, because life is a paradox. It really is a paradox. Nobody has been able to put their hand around life and be able to construct it and be able to put it into any kind of defining definition, because the paradox of life. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. Everybody's trying to figure out how to find balance from this spiritual man and into the physical man, and how to remain, to have harmony and balance in that experience, and then try to be who we want to be and come out with an identity and not be part of the herd, not just run because everybody's running left, and not just run right because everybody's running right, but be able to take a stand and be able to be who we want to be, to create the life that we want to live, to create what it is that we want. You have that ability to do that. And I think that the more you pay for it, the more you focus on paying, the more you focus on allowing things to open up. Once your mind expands, it could never go back to its original form. It could never go back to its original form once the mind expands. Once the mind expands, your mind can never go back to what it's almost like when you see something, you can't unsee it. Once you've already saw it, I don't care what you do, I can't unsee it because I've already saw it. The same thing with the mind. Once the mind takes you to that level of consciousness, it can never go back to its original form. I want to stretch you. I want to stretch your consciousness, that you will begin to elevate to a new level, a new plateau, a new dimension. Because as your consciousness expands, so will everything involved with you have to expand as well. The mind teaches us that your thoughts are not just abstract ideas, but that they also are forms of energy, right? And that when you focus on a particular thought, or when you pay for what it is that you want out of life, you send that energy where they always say where your attention goes, the power flows. Write that down. Where my attention goes, my power flows. Where my attention goes, there will my power flow. Because what happens is I'm paying to be successful. I'm paying to be wealthy. I'm paying to be rich. I'm paying to be financially secure. I'm paying to be healthy. I'm paying to be in a loving family. I'm paying to be in this like-mindedness of people who are going to allow me to elevate my level of consciousness. And see, when you start paying for things in life that you want, your circle is going to begin to change, because they often say that your friends are a resume of what you're going to become. And so if you are paying for the things that you want in life, I can almost guarantee you that your circle will have to change, because where you only attract who you are. Write that down. I will always attract who I am. I will always attract who I am. I meet no one in this world but me. Well, what that means is that I am a magnet, and I can only manifest who I am. I can't manifest what I want to be, what I could be, what I should be, what I hope to be. I can only manifest what I am. And guess what? If I don't like what I'm manifesting, I have the ability to make the change. I only get a life what I pay for. Our thoughts and beliefs can become self-fulfilling prophecies. Let me see. Did you hear what I just said? Our thoughts and beliefs can also be self-fulfilling prophecies. If we believe we are capable of deserving success, and we are actually taking the actions, putting forth, paying to be successful. Everybody listening to me, that journey is going to be different for everybody, because what one person thinks is success doesn't mean what the other person thinks. So everybody's definition of success is going to be different, which means that you have to determine what success means to you and begin to pay for that experience that you want to experience. But while you're going through this journey of paying for what you want out of life, you begin to learn who you are. You begin to learn how strong you are. You begin to learn how wise you are. You begin to learn how much great wisdom and knowledge and understanding that was already residing inside of you. And by you beginning to pay attention and pay for the things you want in life, you begin to tap into that and begin to now elevate your level of self-awareness and self-realization. And you begin to understand who you are from the spiritual realm, entering into this physical body that we're in. And you begin to now manifest and create your own reality. You don't have to ask anybody for anything. You don't have to ask anybody for permission. You don't have to ask anybody for anything, because you have the power to create it. The next time somebody comes to you with something, you're going to be like, oh, I'm sorry, Jim. I really apologize. and say, well, why you don't want to talk about, when people come to you about negativity and complaining about stuff? I'm sorry, I don't really want to talk about that. I do apologize. I'll talk to you later. And they say, well, why you don't want to talk about, I didn't pay for that. I'm sorry, Jim, but I didn't pay for that. So unfortunately, I'm not going to focus my attention on things that I didn't pay for. I only want to experience the things that I paid for. I will never spend another day paying for something that I didn't want, experiencing something that I didn't pay for. And so I'm beginning to understand and look at this from this perspective, because I got to get to a place where I'm able to understand the power of my imagination, that I'm able to understand that the subconscious mind works side by side, hand by hand, and is closely connected to the imagination. And that using your imagination, creating the mental images of the things that I want to experience, creating the mental images of the things that I want to bring into this fruition, will then program my subconscious mind to make it a reality. Listen, I told you earlier, your conscious mind takes a thought, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, and it gives it to the subconscious mind. Once it gives it to the subconscious mind then makes it a reality. So we have to be very mindful of the thoughts and the concepts and the ideas and the different things that we allow to come into our consciousness, right? But now, because I'm conscious of this, and you guys have been listening to this lecture tonight, and you guys are writing down, taking notes, listening to this over and over again, and saying, listen, no longer will I allow these these negative thoughts, these things that I'm not paying for, to enter into my consciousness. So now I'm only allowing things that I want to experience, the things that I want to create in life, to come into my consciousness, because once it enters into my consciousness, I'm now going to allow it to go to the subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind that works hand in hand, side by side, very closely connected with the imagination. When it connects those two together, then it will now bring that thought, that concept of what I've been paying for, it will bring it into my physical reality. And you see, and you begin to understand now that I'm becoming the creator that I was born to be. I'm becoming the creator that I'm supposed to be. I'm not waiting for somebody to give me permission. I'm not waiting because I'm waiting for somebody to help me, or I need somebody to assist me, or I can't do it unless I have everybody with me. But no, I can pay attention starting right now. I can start paying attention right now. And because I start paying attention right now, what that means is that, guess what? I'm paying attention to being in peace. There's somebody that's listening to me that's life, you feel like you're going through hell and you just want peace. But if you start paying attention to peace, guess what? Peace is going to start showing up in your world because you paid attention to it. Somebody says, I need money. If you start paying attention to money, I believe money will start showing up in your life. Why? Because you paid for it. Where your focus goes, the power will flow. If you start paying attention to money, you'll start seeing things happening. Where your attention goes, your power will flow. Where is your attention? Where is your attention? We got to make sure that our attention is moving in the direction that we need it to go. Because once we get once we get it in that position, we'll be able to make some things happen. We'll be able to really get some things going. And so I'm excited about the future. I'm always excited about the future. I'm never afraid of the future because I just believe, listen, it's just in my heart, my mind, and my soul that I can never be afraid of the future, because the best way to predict the future is to create it. And so I want all of you to write down 10 things that you want to start paying for, that you want to see happen in this year of 2023. 10 things that you want to see happen. And you start paying for them. You start paying, focusing your attention. And as you start focusing your attention, you start also doing things in the physical realm. You start focusing and writing things down. And constantly, every day, you start continuing to pay for those things. And watch how they begin to show up. Because you only get out of life what you pay for. That's the only thing we get out of life is what we pay for. You see people all the time where, they're in the streets, they're doing things they're not supposed to do. They are living in the streets, dealing with crime, and so when things happen to them, when they get arrested or they get shot or they whatever the case may be, people always say, "Well, they had that coming. They look what they were doing. They was doing what they were supposed to be doing. It was going to happen one way or the other because that's the lifestyle that they chose to live. That's what they paid attention to." You only get a life what you pay for. You can now start paying attention to the things that you want to see in life. Learning how to master the art of time and change. That's the secret to life. The secret to life is the effective management of time and change, because those are the two things that we cannot control. But if you can secretly learn how to manage them, and so listen, the only way I tell you guys this, the secret to managing time and change, the only way that you can manage time and change is with a plan. That's the only way. The only way, listen to me, write this down. The only way that I can successfully manage time and change is with my plan. What is the plan of your life? What plan do you have? What plan do you have for this year? We're getting ready to move into another quarter. We finished the first quarter. We're moving into the second quarter. What is your plan? We understand that life is an inside job. The inside job. If you fail to go within, you must learn to live without. I trust the intelligence within me. Whatever is happening out there is only a mirror of my own limited thinking. I am at the center of peace. It is safe for me to look within. Each time I look deeper into myself, I will find incredible, beautiful awareness within me. Listen, you got to learn how to go within. If you fail to go within, you will learn to live without. Paying attention starts within. It starts in the mind. It starts with your consciousness. And as you begin to work it, it will begin to, man, the doors that will open up for you will be unbelievable. There will be doors that you didn't even know existed that will begin to open up for you. That's why I tell you, do not worry how it's going to happen, because things will going to happen that really don't make sense, that you would not believe. I relax and enjoy life. I know that whatever I need to know is revealed to me in the perfect time and space sequence. Whatever I need to know will be revealed at the time I need to know it. I'm not going to get stressed out. I'm not going to overwork myself. I'm not going to get myself in a position where I'm worried about something that I cannot manage. If I want love and acceptance from my family, then I must have love and acceptance for them. You cannot reap where you have not sown. You cannot reap where you have not sown. I can't ask you for something that I'm not willing to give. There is a solution to every problem. We create habits and problems to fulfill a need when I can lead a positive way, I can leave a positive way to fulfill life and begin to become the solution to the problem. There is a solution for every problem. I want you to write down, I am the solution to every problem. I am the solution to every problem. I am the solution. Once you realize that you are the solution, you will begin to say, I deserve all that's good in my life. You begin to talk. You begin to start calling things that be not as though they were. You begin to say yes to life instead of no. You begin to give yourself permission to live the life that you've always wanted to live. You begin to look at life from a different perspective, because you would have mastered the secret while everybody else is saying, well, how did he do this? How did she do that? And you're basically saying, listen, I just started paying for life. I just started paying for what I wanted out of life. And then you'll go up to people and you say, listen, you only get a life what you pay for. And they say, well, what are you talking about? I said, that's how I get it. Hey, how did you get that house? How did you, I know that you said you were in a financial times, hard times, and, it just seemed like things turned around for you very quickly. How did that happen? You say, well, you know what? You only get a life what you pay for. I paid for it. I paid for this experience. I paid for this house. And so you begin to start utilizing and putting these things into perspective. I just wanted to talk tonight about that and put that in your spirit. I didn't want to hold you too long. Like I said, I want to thank all of you who are listening to this. Those of you that want to be a part of the Temple of Enlightenment International Spiritual Center, I will be leaving the link in the description. You guys can join and be a part of us. We're going to start doing our Sunday calls again, but it will be done at 4 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern time. And maybe 4 or 5 o'clock, I'll let you guys know, on Sundays at Eastern time in the afternoon. And I'll tell you the significance of that, why I picked that time. And then also, we're going to start doing the Monday on Amazon app, on the app. So I'll keep you guys abreast on that. If you feel like this message was great, if you feel like you got something out of this, if this was something that made you think a certain way, that challenged your thought, that made you say, well, you know what, he's right. I do need to start getting out of life what I pay for. I want you to share this with 5 of your friends. Let them listen to this and listen to what was being said in this lecture. And then also, if you guys want to be a blessing and put a seed in the ground into this ministry, there are 4 ways that you can give by listening here. You can work with our Cash App, which is going to be $TOESC. Once again, that's going to be Cash App, $TOESC. And then we have PayPal. Those of you that want to go by PayPal, it's going to be issacharbey@gmail.com. That's going to be ISSACHARBEY, issacharbey@gmail.com. If you want to use Venmo, and a lot of you are signed up with Venmo with your banks, you can do @Issachar. So that's going to be @ISSACHAR-Bay, BEY. So for Venmo, that's @Issachar-Bay, BEY. And then also, those of you that want to use Zelle, you can use Zelle. Zelle is going to be issacharbey@gmail.com. Those are the 4 ways we can give: is Zelle, Venmo, PayPal, or Cash App. I want to thank all of you for your donations. Those of you that have been sowing, I want to thank you so much. What I'm getting ready to set up too, those of you, for a lot of people who have been sowing, and we've been sending out like little emails, and those of you that have been commenting and sending me stuff about the magazine, for everybody, well, we'll send this out, but for everybody who sows a seed, I will give you a personal word. I will send you a personal recorded word, speaking into your life. So, like I said, I want to thank all of you for being a blessing. Just keep looking forward to us getting together on Sundays and then also on Mondays for the Creating Your Own Reality, kind of like a talk show. What I want to do is actually have people come on and kind of ask me questions, ask me for advice, and I'll speak into their lives and see what I see. And so we kind of want to get into it. And I had did this a long, long time ago on Blog Talk Radio. So we kind of want to get into that. So I'll let you guys know more about that. We want to get that started as soon as possible. So I want to continue to thank all of you guys for your support, everything that you guys have been doing. And like I said, one thing I like to say all the time before I leave, this one thing: I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it until we meet again.